charger going. Hold on. You're good.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty, and we are live. Episode 2 of the Off the Dome show. I'm your host, Lucas, and to the right of me is my buddy, Andy, also host of the show. Andrew, how we doing, my friend?
Good, bud. Birthday's tomorrow. I'm turning the big old 2-6, and I can feel the low back pain setting in. I guess I'm not
2-6.
doing good. I don't know.
You,
I am good. I'm fine. Yeah.
you're old.
Yeah, being 26 is, I don't know. I told my dental hygienist today that I was like, didn't think I'd make it this far. So,
That is, I'm gonna call you old until I join you in roughly a month.
yeah. Rub it in as long as you can. Yep.
That's the plan. That's the plan. I'm not even gonna call you Andrew no more. I'm gonna call you Grandpa for about a month. Anyways, man. Before we get into it, I think you have some big news that maybe you want to share with everybody
Uh,
here.
let's see. Last Tuesday. Oh, yeah. Looked at my board results on Wednesday night. So, a little backstory to that. They release in every state differently across the U.S. And I kind of followed this group of PT students. This guy runs it, kind of runs like a coaching program for the boards. And he found out that Missouri's first score had released at like 5:45 local time. So I go to check. Of course, mine hasn't dropped yet. So kind of refreshing every 15 minutes, driving myself crazy. Like, come on, come on. This is after a week of stressing out about it. Not thinking about much else. Went on a flow trip, couldn't think about anything but boards. And then I check back every hour, still not happening. A couple of my classmates got their scores. Even one that took it at the same testing center as I did, I still didn't have mine. I'm starting to be pissed off. And then I was like, you know what? No, I just need to go play college football for an hour. So I did. Played an online game. It was actually against Ohio State. Quite fitting, I would say. And it was a very competitive game. I was about to lose, as a matter of fact, but then he lost connection. So I won. And I was like, you know what? Been about an hour. Let's go check. Because another one of my classmates had got in the meantime. And I passed. So did a big old, had it pulled up on the computer screen, blocked it out with my hand. I'm like, I can't look. I can't do this. I can't look. I can't look. And my mom just told me today. She didn't even tell me till today. She had seen it from this angle over here. She's like, I knew you passed. She's like, I saw the SED. It didn't say LED. So I just wanted to wait till you read it. So I just kind of did, ripped off the Band-Aid and then freaked out. And top 5 feeling I've ever had, dude. I mean, it's up there with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and when Mizzou wins the Natty. And whew, that felt good.
Absolutely, man. There's something to be excited about.
Yeah.
And I was excited when you called me.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting.
He didn't pick up on the first FaceTime. I'm like, where is this man?
Well, I know. I forgot what I was doing, but I remember you called me and I saw it. And then I was like, oh my God, he called me. And then pretty much from there, I kind of knew because I was like, he may have not called me, assuming the worst.
Yeah.
But you called me and I was like, let's go. Because it was my bedtime, but I was like, I'm not missing out on this. You got to be crazy.
Yeah, no, dude. That whole night was a cloud or fever dream, whatever you want to call it. And then my mom retired the next day. So it was one healthcare career was beginning, the other one was ending. It was kind of poetic.
That is kind of poetic.
We saw Morgan Wallen Friday, which was a
phenomenal
concert.
Phenomenal.
Saturday by the pool. And then, yeah, man, we're back for episode 2.
Episode 2, man. I was excited to be back today. The topics I have for us, I think are exciting. Again, we can branch off if you have another on the fly. My day today was it's getting to the time of year. I know it's only the 6th of August, but it's like August hits, August 1st, it's like, oh, it's football. It's time for football. It's summer's not over, but it feels like fall is coming. It's time for football. So obviously we do our show, and then we have a fantasy draft coming up in a couple of weeks in person. So today I'm creating my own cheat sheet this year for fantasy football. So I started that today. So just like and I listened to like 2.5 episodes of fantasy football podcasts. I listened to two Mizzou podcasts. They're like, I was just like in the zone today, and it's just that time of the year. We get preseason NFL football this weekend. We get a Mizzou game in 23 days,
Mhm.
and the NFL opener in a month. So like in 30 days, there's a lot going on football wise. So it's just the best time of the year, to be honest with you.
And the Royals are playing good. I mean,
Eh,
normally we're craving football by training camp because the Royals are 60 games under 500, and they actually have a playoff spot right now. So
The Royals are playing good with a little playoff spot. So, assuming that they keep this going, dude, September and October are going to be very fun, but busy, but fun times for us
yeah.
Kansas City sports fans.
Mhm.
But the first thing that I did want to get into today, um, hmm, I kind of want to do our SEC predictions last. So we'll go through each team and kind of give our rankings.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what yours are. You don't know what mine are. I imagine some will be similar,
Yeah.
like Vanderbilt being the new SEC powerhouse. I know it's not all Mizzou, but with Mizzou being in the SEC, I thought it would be cool for us to rank all the teams. You know what I mean? We get to play 8 of them this year, so we play half of them. Might as well rank them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like to give our breakout players for Mizzou. We
Okay.
can give an offense and a defensive player if you have, and then maybe an honorable mention.
Okay.
Um, and breakout players does not include Brady Cook, Luther Burden. The players have already had a breakout year.
Yeah.
Um, And those breakout players could be a freshman, it could be a transfer player, it could be a player who, the senior or the person in front of them went to the NFL, whoever that may be. And then I kind of want to, we might touch on college football playoff contenders or teams to look out for this episode. If we get to it, we'll get to it. But if not, then we won't. That's no big deal. What do you want to start, man? I'm cool with. I want to do the SEC predictions last.
Um, let's do. I guess we'll talk about breakout players.
All right, let's do it. Do you want to lead it? Do you want me to lead it?
No, take it away.
All right. All right.
You just talked about fantasy football and doing all this prep. I'm like, bro, I'm like, the most prep I do for that is reading the little paragraph they write about. Oh, well, he had a
I'm,
good last year, and this year might do good too, or it might be terrible.
just because it's right next to me. So at work today,
That's my
I'm
job.
not going to give too much away because I don't want to give you away my strategy. But like, here's one cheat sheet I printed off. I have notes on it. Here's another 6-page one I printed off, and here's another two different ones I printed off. Now I'm going to use all of these and build my own.
Mm-hmm.
So this I'm not going to go strictly off these,
Put that
but
much effort into my PT notes. The
yeah, I
last.
did. So that's what I was doing today. I have a week and a half to create that. But as far as my Mizzou breakout players,
Yep.
I think I want to start offensively, mainly because there is less breakout players. I feel like, maybe not actually, maybe not. I think breakout players wise, I don't know if you can consider this guy a breakout player, but I'm looking forward to. There's 3 players on offense, which I said one, but I'm gonna give you 3, and then after I get done at kind of explaining, then I'll give you my one after that. Okay. So the first one will be running back Nate Noel. Everyone's super high on Marcus Carroll, which I am too. Super excited to see him play. But Nate Noel, I'm super excited for, just because I was listening to, um, it was Power Mizzou, and they were talking about how he has the explosive run capability, which is exciting. Because not that Cody Schrader didn't have that, but Cody Schrader didn't have like a breakaway speed. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, I think every Mizzou fan remembers the Georgia game 2 years ago.
yeah.
Love a
So
good, but wish he would have got an extra yard or two.
so for Nate Noel, he played last year at App State. He had 173 carries, 834 yards, 5 touchdowns. His longest run was 68 yards. Um, So I am just excited to have some breakaway speed, being able to get out in the open field and make people miss and essentially run away from them and not get caught. I'm excited for him. I think the running back competition will be interesting. That's the offensive position I'm most intrigued with. There's plenty of talent, you know what I mean? You might even see a freshman get some playing time or a sophomore. You really don't know. But Nate Noel is the running back I'm super excited for. Off receiver wise, you could say Marquise Johnson. He's got that game killing speed. You know what I mean? You're not catching him.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at Joshua Manning. At least I'm a native. Maybe I'm a little biased being at least Summit, but I'm super excited to see him get some playing time. All everything that I see, he got offensive MVP at the spring game. He um, Eli Drinkwitz can't stop talking about like how impressive he has been at camp. So that makes me feel excited. Even though all the receivers came back, I do expect him to get some playing time.
Mm.
So I would say him, and then the last one is Brett Norfleet. You could say maybe he was a breakout player, but I don't think he truly had a breakout last year. He only had 18 catches for 197 yards. He did have 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm excited for him just to keep building off what he did last year. I'm pretty sure he was an all SEC freshman.
Yep.
Um,
Which is
so
crazy considering he only had 192 yards.
yeah, so he averaged 11 yards a catch, and every 6 catches was a touchdown. So I would say that's pretty good. He's
Mhm.
ginormous. Even
Yeah.
on TV, dude looks massive. I remember when we went to the Tennessee game, I was like, that dude is ginormous. He could literally looks like he could play line.
Yeah.
But he's athletic enough to run out and catch passes too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited for Brett Norfleet. I would like to see Mizzou utilize the tight end in the passing game a little bit more, because he was our leading tight end last year with 18 catches.
Dude, every time Mizzou's had a prolific passing offense, there's been a tight end involved. Chase Kaufman, Albert O.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crucial part of the passing game.
I
So,
feel like tight ends are super crucial, especially in the red zone. I was reading an article
yeah.
when I got home, and Drinkwitz was talking about how he wanted to. I'll get the. I want to get you the specific stats, so I'm not talking out my ass here. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull that. I had it pulled up and I closed it because I was like, oh, I'll remember it. Um, I didn't remember exactly what it was. Give me 1 second here, and I'll tell you what it was. So, Drinkwitz wants to get better at red zone offense. He wants to turn field goals into touchdowns, which is fair. You know,
So,
you lose 2 games last year, and you had I think they said we had a top 3 red zone offense. Yeah, third in the nation in red zone offense. So you turn those field goals into touchdowns, in an 11-2 season.
yeah.
There's not a lot of teams that are going to beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the fact that he wants to improve on that is interesting. I think the tight end can play a super important part in that red zone offense, being a big body, being able to block, and then leave that block and go out for a pass, or just being a possession type player because Brett Fleet's ginormous, so he could go out for a pass if needed.
Mhm.
So those are my 3 offensive players. If you've had to tell you who I'm most excited for, I was when I started this, I was going to say Nate Noel. I think it is Brett Norfleet.
Yeah.
I think he's better. I am so excited. And again, he was only a freshman last year, so we get him for 2 more years, and those 2 years to get him to develop into potentially an All SEC first team tight end, maybe an All American tight end. I think he could do it.
Mhm.
So I'd say Brett Norfleet is my offensive breakout player of the year, or maybe we don't say breakout player. Maybe we say breakout watch, or we'll put on breakout watch for the season. That's what we'll do. Defensively, is a little interesting because you can't say Johnny Walker. I cannot wait to see Johnny Walker hit quarterbacks this year. I think my player is going to be Marvin Burks.
Okay.
He was a freshman last year. He got some safety snaps. Let me see if I can pull up his snap count. Marvin Burks. It's not going to have his snaps. But he was a freshman last year. He's now going to be a sophomore competing for that starting position at free safety, I believe it is. But safeties are kind of rotational. He could play free safety, strong safety. It doesn't really matter. So I think Marvin Burks is going to be my breakout player. He was a freshman playing. Now he's going to be a sophomore competing for that starting position. I don't see there's any reason why he can't break out. And I believe he returned some kicks last year on some kickoff returns. I mean, didn't score, but he played for a freshman. I think almost more than any other freshman on our team.
I'm pretty sure they have him on kick return too in the video game. So
They do.
yeah.
They do. So
And listen, yeah.
I'm excited for him. St. Louis kid.
Yeah.
Again, he was our top prospect for the 2023 class, which was a commitment that was flipped from Ole Miss to us. So I'm excited to see him play this year. He is I think he's going to light it up.
All right.
And then my honorable mention, I got to give you an honorable mention. I did tell you we would do that. My honorable mention will be Nate Noel then, because it was close between him and Brett Norfleet. Now Joshua Manning again is high on my list. It
Yeah.
truly just depends because all the receivers are coming back. How much does he play? If he
Where
plays,
is he at on the depth chart? Is he 4, 5, 6?
um, as of right now, training camp, I don't know because they haven't released it yet. But right now, he's listed at he's a second string. He's the second string X receiver. So Theo Weiss is the starting X receiver. This is ourlads.com depth chart. But this is Theo Weiss is the starter for that position. They have Joshua Manning listed second. Mookie Cooper is the starting Z receiver. Oh, sorry, no, sorry. That was Marquise Johnson. Joshua Manning's behind Mookie Cooper as a Z receiver.
Okay.
So now, if I had to guess, he'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I had to guess, maybe sixth. If you put it like just all receivers in general,
Yeah.
maybe he's above Mekhi Miller, but I don't think so. I think Mekhi Miller is pretty good. But you still have Courtney Crutchfield, freshman, James Madison, freshman, and Daniel Blood, sophomore. Speaking of the two freshman receivers I just listed, they are in contention for punt returns. They don't know who's returning punts this year yet. I read another article and they said they would, they could be the ones, which is interesting.
Yeah.
They said Luther Burns said he wants to do it, but they said they might.
Uh-uh.
You know what's funny? They
Right.
compared it to Tyreek Hill. They said they might only put him back there in
Yeah.
situations where they need something.
Yeah.
You know, like the Chiefs used to do with Tyreek. They'd put Tyreek back there when they needed something desperately. So they said if Luther goes back there, that's probably why.
Well,
But you have Marquise Johnson that could go back there. You have
Yeah.
Marvin Burks who could go back there. You have
Yeah.
Daniel Blood who could go back there
Mhm.
because he returned kicks or punts in high school. So you have a few people that could go back and punt return. But anyways, back to your question. That's where Joshua Manning is at on the depth chart at this time.
Cool. Oh, dude, it's insane how the embarrassment of riches we have at wide receiver. I mean, we are stacked.
Yep.
So.
One more honorable mention for defensive breakout player, assuming he gets play, is Williams Nawari. Got to put him in there. Got to put him in there.
Yeah.
Assuming he plays. I saw a clip of him at training camp, dude. He's massive. He's ginormous.
Big man. He's a very big man. All the Oklahoma fans are very they're trying to say he sucks, but it's a little bit different tune than they were singing a few months ago. So I guess a year ago. God, time flies,
Oh, that was it. That was it almost a year ago exactly, actually.
Yeah, I was
That's
in Colorado,
insane.
family trip when all that was going down.
That's insane. I forgot what I was doing. I was driving somewhere, and I told Macy, I was like, "We got to turn this on so I can watch it while we drive." Anyways, give me your breakout offensive player, your breakout defensive player. And if you want to give two honorable mentions, you can. One, you can. It doesn't. Whatever you want to do.
I would say I'm going to start just talking about overall offense versus defense. I still think defense will be more interesting to watch just because, like, yes, we're losing Cody Schrader on offense, but he's being replaced by proven talent with Marcus Harrell and Nate Noel. And the O-line, I would still say is pretty proven talent. Caden Green, that's probably going to be one of the guys I'm looking out for on the line. But on defense, it's definitely more variable, not only just because we lost more talent to the draft, but just I would say more unfamiliar faces, maybe not quite as much production. I also haven't looked into their stats as much as I have the offensive guys. But for offense, I would say it's probably Caden Green. I want to see how the O-line holds up.
He was the one I wanted to mention too.
Yeah. So, and he's the other, big, I guess, off-season talking point that Mizzou fans have been looking at. Just obviously with everything coming back with Oklahoma this year, we've got them quite in a fuss, we could say, to put it politely. Just taking off.
I don't know if you knew this. As a true freshman last year, Caden Green started 4 games and played 568 snaps, primarily at left tackle. But
they're guard, right?
he did play guard there too. He played left tackle and left guard, and right now they have him mainly at left guard. But
Marcus Bryant at left tackle, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. on this depth chart here. Let's see. Yeah, they have him there.
Yeah. So I want to see how he performs because, after all this trash talking with OU, the last thing I would want to happen is that he does not turn out to be all that he's hyped up to be. I don't think that's
Yeah,
going to be the case, but I want to make sure, I want to see him deliver on the field, especially against Oklahoma. Him and Nawari going off would be pretty awesome. Um,
that would be sweet.
so I would say Caden Green on offense. I'm just excited to see how Marcus Carroll and Nate Noel complement each other. I mean, I'm not going to necessarily rank one and two with them on who I'm most excited to see, but I just want to see how they kind of do running back by committee. And then receivers, I mean, it's still going to be the same main four from
Yeah.
last year: Burden, Weiss, Cooper, probably Miller would be number four. But like you said, just seeing how the other new guys, the young guys, kind of step in from time to time. And then defense, well, and then obviously, yeah, I was going to talk about Norfleet too. It was crazy when you were saying those stats. I definitely thought he had more than 187 yards, but I think it was just recency bias because he went off against Arkansas. And I think he definitely got more of his production in the last couple of games, if I remember correctly. But I mean, from how dominant he was those last couple of games, I thought he'd been good the whole season. So I'm curious to see how he performs over the whole season.
He's 6'7", 235.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
and he's from Missouri.
Yeah. We grow them good around here, man. But yeah. So I don't know. Norfleet, I'm not going to take that from you because that was already your pick. But I'm going to say Caden Green. Norfleet's a very close second to see how he does over a full season, especially now that he's more established and up to the pace of D1 play and all that. Defense, I need to do more looking into that. But I'm going to say again, I think last week I talked about the linebacker core. There's something about linebackers. That's probably because I played 2 snaps at linebacker in high school.
Mhm.
I just want to see how they do. I think Newsom, if I'm correct,
Tristan Newsom.
Newsom, yeah, him and Chuck Hicks coming back this year. I want to see how they do.
Yep.
So, and then throw a wild card in there. I want to see how the new kicker is because he's got big shoes to fill.
Oh yeah, that honestly that's a good shout, Blake
So,
Craig.
Liberty North alumni, I want to say. So KC kid,
Yep.
big shoes to fill, but hoping he does well.
I agree. I am rooting for Blake Craig here, as well. Thicker kicker is definitely big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Um,
Big pads and big everything to fill. But
there was something I was looking at when you were talking about the running backs. Oh, when you talk about running backs, I am not worried about the running back room at all. Again, we have a solid running back room. I think our offensive line is primed to be the best it's been in some time. Last year was good, obviously, semifinals for the Joe Moore Award, but we have depth, right? Logan Reichert he's a redshirt freshman. He's 6'6", 370. He's from Raytown. He could easily play that guard spot as well. Now they're not going to move Kid and Green from there unless something were to happen. But like just for instance, next year, Caden Green, they can move him to left tackle, but Logan Reichert left guard. And then, they still have Tollison, he's a junior, then they could lose Mimbo and Cameron Johnson. Mimbo if he goes to the NFL draft. If he could stay another year. So we have offensive line looks good, which means the running back should have holes to run through.
Yep.
So the
But
running back room looks good.
as we know from playing college football this weekend, Euro line. I don't remember which team we were doing for the viewers. We were doing a matchup per conference, and was it the K State game? No, I think you had Alabama's O line. That's what it was. Yeah,
Oh yeah, dude, I was running everything all over you.
I mean the running. Bama's always got good running backs, but my God, if you got a good O line, it doesn't matter who's back there.
Oh yeah, it was
Couldn't stop him.
insane.
Couldn't stop him every
I
time I got.
still don't know the name of the Bama running back, but in the game he was running.
Yeah.
um, but no, so those are our breakout players. I had Brett Norfleet, you had Caden Green, and then on defense you had wait, who was your defensive guy?
Hurt, but came
Wait,
back.
who?
Chuck Hicks.
That's okay. And then mine was nah, I totally just forgot who mine was.
You said Baneri, but that wasn't your guy. I don't think.
Oh, it was Marvin Burks. Duh. Duh. Dummy. I knew it. I was just testing you. So those are our breakout watch players of the years. So we'll keep an eye on those guys, and at the end of the year, obviously, we'll give our thoughts. Did they meet the kind of watch that we thought they could? Did they reach the potential that we thought they could? They could reach. I think there's a lot of players that could break out. Those are just a couple that we picked. If you wanted me to, I could probably go through every player on this roster and tell you they are breakout watch. you know, um, I think our roster looks good from top to bottom. I think um, I think the thinnest room we have is the quarterback room. Obviously, you don't want to get down to your backup quarterback unless you're blowing another team out. Um, that's the only like kind of question mark that we have because did you know that Daniel Blood, sophomore receiver, is listed as the third string quarterback?
Is he? I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, it says right here.
Pine
Um, huh?
behind Drew Pine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they have freshman Aiden Glover behind him. So quarterback room's not looking great.
Yeah.
But obviously the plan is to not need to use them because you have Brady Cook. So
Yeah.
that is where we are there. I like your picks. I like my picks probably a little bit better just because I'm biased.
A little more research too, so I'll give you that one.
No, I was I was Caden Green was someone that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I thought about that one. Um, so I'm definitely excited to see Caden Green block. Hopefully, pancakes every Oklahoma defender on November 9th. But the next thing we're gonna go to is we're gonna go teams to look out for on the Missouri schedule, which we kind of did last week.
Okay.
Um, and then we'll go into our SEC predictions, 1 through 16. Um, so we'll make this quick. We don't have to go super into depth. Obviously, when we get week by week episodes before each game, we'll give you more in depth analysis of each team that we're playing. We're going to give a few reasons why we think these teams are kind of teams to look out for your Missouri Tigers. And give me 1 second here. I'm going to open up this picture. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, well that did not do anything. Hang on.
There you go.
How do I full screen this? Here we go. Can I do this? Better. Can you see that all right?
Yeah.
All right. So obviously the first 4 games you really don't have to worry about. Mizzou should steamroll, stomp, score 100 points each game in the first 4 weeks. Luther Burden should have the Heisman locked up in the first 4 weeks. Like that's how that should go. Obviously Texas A&M, I would probably assume that you and I are both on the same page that this could be a team to look out for.
Yeah, I think I said last week that's a good barometer for where the team's at. Like you said, no question, team should be 4-0. That's their first road game, first hostile environment, first actual football team. No, disrespect to Buffalo, Murray State, Boston College, and Vanderbilt, but yeah, that's the first test. Massive, environment, 100,000 fans. They sure love their football. So that'll be where we find out what the season's going to be like. Kind of like how K-State was last year. So.
Yeah, that is right. That's definitely our first test of the year, and it's the first away game and the first test. There's something I wanted to look at really quick. I wonder if I can find it. I think it would be super interesting.
And they've got a new head coach, so it's either going to be, they've kind of hit the ground running with him. They're still adjusting to, there's so many ways that the first year with a new head coach can go. I mean, obviously with Drinkwitz, our first year, we were able to upset LSU at home. But overall, it was a 500 year, just like the rest of them had been until this last one. So be interesting to see how A&M is gelling at that point, whether they've, like I said, they're off to the races or if they've kind of gotten off to a slow start. So
I agree. Okay, so Drinkwitz has played Texas A&M and we lost 14-35. Okay, I was just curious if he's played A&M before, and this was
That was during PT school. I remember that was two years ago.
2021, and that
Very-
was in Como.
Yep.
So he's 0-1 against A&M. I think that's the only time he's played them actually. Yep. So he's only played A&M once. He's 0-1, and that was at home. So, obviously A&M is going to be a hostile environment. They fit, I think, 105,000 people in their stadium. He did say that at practice they are trying to replicate, loud noises. They do
Yeah.
get helmet communication and iPads this year, so they are working with that during camp. So that should be interesting. I imagine that should help on road environments, but if it's too loud, then you can't really even hear them. So I'm curious to see how that works. Obviously, UMass shouldn't have to worry about that. It is an away game. That could be the only reason you see anything there because it's on the road. But again, Missouri should handle business. And then you get Auburn at home, and some people have Auburn kind of being sneaky good this year. I have them being kind of sneaky good. I think that's a game to look out for. Now it is homecoming. Mizzou thrives off homecoming games. They just come with like even more energy. If we win at A&M and we win at UMass could be kind of like a trap game. I don't see why Mizzou should lose to Auburn. To be honest with you, it's still a game to look out for, but it is Auburn, and they were historically bad passing the football last year. So unless they take leaps and bounds, Mizzou should handle business. Again, could be close. And then maybe the biggest game of the year on the road at Bama. Even with Saban gone, you got to watch out for Bama. You're going to Bryant-Denny Stadium with Nick Saban Field or Saban Field, or whatever they're going to call it. You have Jalen Milroe, who started the season really rough last year, and then he ended. People were saying he could win the Heisman last year, which was insane. So you have him coming back. And Mizzou was not very good at holding mobile quarterbacks last year. So, and Jalen Milroe might be the most mobile outside of Jaden Daniels. So that is going to be a huge game. I mean, obviously, everyone knows that's the team to look out for is Bama. I saw something today. This is the lowest they've been ranked in the coaches poll in I forget how many years it was, but it was and they're ranked 5, by the way. They're ranked 5, and this is the lowest they've been ranked in college football era or college football playoff era.
I can't imagine the shame they must feel.
The people are selling their jerseys and they're switching. You probably had half the Bama fan base jump over to Georgia.
Yeah.
But I thought I saw that and I was like, "Oh my god, that is insane."
That is wild. I mean, what Saban did for them, dude. I mean, that's it rivals Bill Belichick with the Patriots. It's nuts.
It is nuts. I would almost say Saban did it better, to be honest with you. But we could
bordering saying that, but I didn't want to go too crazy.
I don't know if it's crazy. Saban did it with multiple quarterbacks, multiple teams.
Yeah, that's true. Belichick always had Brady. That was a good point.
When Brady was gone, what happened? I'm not taking anything for Belichick.
47-17 against the Bills in the playoffs. That was
yeah,
a little bit of a doozy.
And then obviously the game after Bama is the game I think most Mizzou fans might be the most excited for. Is on at home versus Oklahoma. Speaking of Oklahoma, real quick, I was on that SEC podcast store on Saturday or Sunday. They have a shirt that you can buy. It says Broklahoma on it.
No way.
I swear, bro. We might make a bet. Maybe for the Oklahoma game, whoever's closer to the score, the other one has to buy that shirt for them. Because that would be freaking awesome. Or maybe we wear it to the game underneath our jerseys or something. That would be awesome.
Too much time in the group chat. He's been seeing us say that every day. That's hilarious.
Dude, what if we got everybody in the group chat to buy one? There'd be like 100 people with Broklahoma shirts. That'd be awesome. But anyways, obviously that's a team to look out for. I've seen people predict Oklahoma going 6-6. I've seen people predict Oklahoma going 10-2. They are kind of all over the place. Some people think they are going to struggle. If you look at their schedule, they got a pretty tough schedule. They gave Texas like a cupcake schedule for their first year in the SEC, and they gave Oklahoma kind of a brutal schedule in their first year in the SEC.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you who Oklahoma plays just so you have an idea. I don't think they're 6-6 based off them being bad. I think it's just they have a tough schedule.
Yeah.
if it'll load here. Hang on. Of course, when I'm trying to be professional and have this prepared for you, things don't want to load. Okay, here we go. Perfect. Um, I s- okay, so they play Tennessee, Auburn, Texas. They play Ole Miss. They play us, and they play Bama, and they play LSU.
Yeah, that should be what, lost to Texas, lost to us.
I think
Lost,
Texas. I think Texas could go either way. They beat Texas last year. Um,
and then,
Tennessee. I'm
yeah,
excited for that Tennessee matchup. Honestly, the more I see stuff about Tennessee, honestly, the more I higher on them, which is crazy because I think they're a little overhyped, but I think they're not a bad team. But Tennessee Oklahoma will be a good matchup. Depending on how that matchup goes, the Oklahoma Auburn game could be decent. Texas and Oklahoma is always good. Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is some people will say college football lock, national title contenders. And then you have us and obviously Bama and then LSU. I think like all those teams are ranked. So like their schedule's tough. So they're scheduled. They are kind of all over the place as far as prediction wise. That game is going to be good but tough.
yep,
Can't sleep on it.
no,
Can't sleep on it. South Carolina. Not too worried about that game. We've kind of owned it. To be honest with you, Mississippi State, new coach, new quarterback, a lot of new there. Again, not too worried about it. And then the Arkansas Razorbacks, if they are any better than last year, could be decent.
I'm gonna say also, can you hear cicadas in the background? My dog knocked the door open. I want to make sure people aren't hearing that.
No, you're good.
Cool. I think my hot take for a more challenging opponent, I think South Carolina is a bigger threat than Auburn is. Auburn's
Really?
at home on homecoming. We had a very ugly win against Vanderbilt on homecoming 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was like 17-14 or something. It was not great.
But we don't lose on homecoming. Last year was good. The year before that, even though it was ugly, still won. I remember us. I did not make it to the game, tailgating, of course, but I remember thrashing Ole Miss during undergrad. We just don't lose on homecoming, and Auburn is not, the Cam Newton Tigers. They're not as bad as they were last year. I know people are talking about, they're slowly on the mend. Um, but I mean, I'm not going to overlook them. But we've beat South Carolina 5 times in a row. As Chiefs fans find out, streaks don't last forever. I mean, we own the Broncos for 16 matchups and should have been 17, but shit happens, and it is at South Carolina. Um, and I do think, at that point, Beamer is going to be playing for, his, or going to be coaching for his job. And I was doing a little bit of kind of seeing what other people were thinking about ranking the SEC 1 through 16. They have us losing to South Carolina, and I don't think it's a guarantee by any stretch of the imagination. I think we should handle business, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tough game. I think it's like the Florida game from last year.
Mm.
I think in South Carolina ruined our perfect season before. It was 20, probably shut it out from memory from the PTSD, but I think 2013 we had a perfect record, and then they came to Mizzou and beat us in overtime after we had a 17-0 lead. So
I don't hate that take. Actually, I think that is definitely a fair point on the road. And Beamer could very well be, coaching for his job.
yeah,
And
no,
we already don't like each other. They have a good home stadium, so I
mhm.
think that game will definitely still be a test. I don't think uh, every week in the SEC is a test
Oh
unless
yeah,
it's Vanderbilt. Unfortunately, Vanderbilt fans, I'm sorry. Um, so
I
I
do.
think
I mean, that's worse than being a Royals fan. Like, at least the Royals shine through every once in a while. I mean, you got no hope as a Vanderbilt fan. You have baseball. I don't. I want to know how they continue to survive.
I don't know if they watch football.
They probably don't. No, they probably just wait for the spring.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. No, I think that's a fantastic take. I think you could definitely say that that game is going to be tougher than people seem to make it. I think it will be an interesting game for sure. I think again, like you said, we should handle business
Yeah.
and we should win, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily a blowout. Could it be? Absolutely,
Yep.
but I don't think it will be.
I
Um,
think the clear cut top three tough games are Bama, A&M, and then Oklahoma A&M is kind of a whether you're factoring in. I mean, with
If you get your top three in order, give them to me.
I would say Bama, A&M, and then Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Is it
At home,
because A&M's on the road and Oklahoma's at home?
yeah,
If
yeah.
they were both at home, would you flip them?
I you know I want to give Oklahoma the benefit of the doubt because they have owned us, for a very long time. But it's a new conference. They have a new quarterback. I think they said they have a whole new offensive line. Am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's pretty accurate, but I think their offensive line is going to be pretty good.
So I don't know. I mean, Texas A&M's got a new head coach, so the same thing with that. But I think there's more bad blood there. We're gonna same thing with the Tennessee game last year. Like I'm really hoping for a similar outcome. They come to Como. It's a little more tricky. So
That's fair. I think
also timing of the games too, because we have a bye week before Oklahoma, as opposed to A&M being the first road game of the year and competition level first challenge of the year too.
I think that is fair. I think Bama is definitely the going to be the toughest game. Outside of that, I think I'm going to put Oklahoma just for the fact that I think for Mizzou fans, beating Oklahoma is going to be important to
Oh, yeah.
us.
Yep.
But I think A&M being an away game could be just as tough, if not tougher. You know what I mean? So the
The
coaches.
means so much more. I think it's just probably not quite as difficult. If that
That's
makes
fair.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I definitely could see an argument there. Obviously, the coaches poll came out yesterday or the day before. They had Georgia number one, which I think is fair. I think they would have won the Natty last year if they would have made the playoffs. Texas at 4, which is fair. Bama at 5. Ole Miss at 6. Mizzou at 11. LSU at 12, which that one kind of surprises me. Tennessee at 15. Again, that one kind of surprises me a little bit. Doesn't surprise me as much as LSU. Oklahoma at 16. A&M at 20. Um, Auburn at 32, so they're receiving votes. Um, Kentucky at 37, Florida at 38, South Carolina at 39, and then Arkansas, Vandy, and Mississippi State weren't receiving votes. So
Sounds about right.
yeah, so Mizzou plays a top 5 team and a top 20 team, or 2 top 20 teams this year. And if you want to go further, they play a top 32 team, top 39 team. I think Arkansas is actually going to be better than some people are making them out to be. To be honest with you, it'll truly depend. I think they play Oklahoma State in the first or second week of the year.
Yeah.
Not that I'm an Arkansas fan. That game I think will be super important if they can beat Oklahoma State, who's gritty and they will drag games out, and they have the best running back in college football. I think there's a chance for Arkansas to be decent. So that is our teams to look out for. And then to finish this episode off, my friend, let's do our SEC predictions 16 through 1. We'll start at 16 and we'll go to 1. The way I'll give mine is I like the way SEC Mike does it, but I'm not going to take his thing. It's just, can this team beat this team? That's just it. That's it. Like if they were to play each other, who would I pick to win?
Okay.
I think that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
A 16. Obviously, I think Vanderbilt is the
I was
worst.
going to say Bama, but yeah.
I think Vanderbilt is the worst team in the SEC. I
Yeah.
don't think that's. I think that's common knowledge. If you follow college football or follow the SEC, I
Yeah.
imagine that you already know that.
I would say it barely sneaks past Hawaii.
Yeah. At number 15, I think I'm gonna put Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State, just because they have a new coach, they have a new quarterback. They weren't not great last year. I think they will be better than last year, but I think they're at 15 for me. At 14, I think you got to go those Arkansas Razorbacks for now. Their defense wasn't great. They got a new quarterback. They lost their running back, and their O line was atrocious. So, assuming I don't know what player additions that they have, when we play them, I'll get more into that time. But I have Arkansas at would they be 14,
14.
and then 13 is going to be South Carolina for me. I think South Carolina's upside for those bottom 4 teams is the highest. They have Rocket Sanders, which is the Arkansas running back. They have Sellers. I forget his first name, but I just call him Goggles. They say he's going to be decent. They have this receiver. I forget his name, and I will tell you what it is right now. He's ginormous, and he's going to be good. Um, receiver. I'll tell you right now. Oh, I just found it. Nick Harbor. He's 6'5", 235, and he's ridiculously fast. So they got some dudes offensively. Again, their O line was not great last year, and their defense was not great last year. I mean, they had Spencer Rattler running for his life every play, especially when they played us, dude. It felt like Spencer Rattler was like
I don't remember a lot of that game, but I do remember that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I have them at my what is that 13?
Yeah.
My 12 spots.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with. Oh, this one. I think you could make an argument for either of these two teams, but I'm gonna go Auburn.
Okay.
And that is mainly because they were very bad at throwing the football last year, and they have the same quarterback. Granted, they have upgraded the wide receiver position quite a bit, and I think having a quarterback for a second year, he should develop and be better. And the fact that Auburn is keeping them as their starter could say one of two things: one, they have nobody else, or two, that they trust this guy to to make those plays that they need. So I'm going to go Auburn at 12, and then I'm going to go Kentucky at 11. They got five-star quarterback Brock Vandagriff transfer from Georgia as their new quarterback. He is very mobile. They have some dudes as receivers. Their defense is not going to be terrible, but they do lose Ray Davis. I think his name was Ray Davis to the draft. He was their leading rusher last year.
Yeah.
And then going into my number, what am I at here? Six. What am I at? 11. I think I'm at 11 as well. 11 is going to be Florida, and this feels kind of low for Florida. I think Florida's going to actually be pretty decent. I think Graham Mertz did not look bad last year, especially second half of the season.
Scared the crap out of us.
Yeah. They do lose Trevor Etienne or Travis. Is it Travis or Trevor? They lose Etienne, but their running back that they have replacing him is going to be good. So I think Florida will be, what did I say, 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, counting backwards is hard. And then 9 is going to be A&M. I think A&M can be a scary team, but new coach. They lost a lot of players in the portal. And Connor Wigman's back. Some people say he could be, a top 5 SEC quarterback. A lot of people were raving about him last year until he got hurt. Can Mike Elko? He's a good defensive coach. Can he turn this team around offensively? I imagine that he can. And Texas A&M gets a lot of recruits, so I think they will be at my 9. Gosh dang it! Hang on, I'm typing out my list right now just so I can count backwards correctly.
Yep.
12 was Kentucky. No, 12 was.
Yeah, Vandy, Mississippi State, Arkansas,
South Carolina.
South Carolina, Auburn.
Auburn, yeah, I think it was Auburn, yeah. And then Kentucky, then Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. I'm looking at the list of the coaches poll, and mine is not in the order that they have it, which is fair. The only thing for Florida I would say is their schedule is brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
Feel bad for those guys. Number 8. I think here I'm going to throw in. This might get some. LSU.
Okay.
I think they have Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. He will be fine. They have the same running back they have last year, but they lose 2 top first round receivers. Their defense was not great last year, and I don't think they're. I mean, they'll be better, but I don't see them, being too much better. You lose Heisman winner Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
Their O line is going to be fantastic. They might have the best O line in the SEC, so they got that going for them. I just think defensively and not knowing their wide receiver weapons at this time, because you can't really. I mean, you could, but replacing again 2 first-round receivers is going to be difficult.
Oh yeah.
And especially a Heisman winner, top 5 pick, Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
At number 7, I'm gonna go Oklahoma. You have Jackson Arnold, who was a former 5-star recruit, coming in at quarterback. I think it's just the uncertainty of we saw him play in the Arizona bowl game last year. He had glimpses of being good, but again, he's young. There's definitely going to be some growing pains, I believe. And for that reason, I have them at number 7. I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be great. It's just offensively, um, can they produce? I think they will. That's why I have them at 7, which is still good in the SEC. 7 in the SEC is going to get you one. Think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7 in the SEC right now is ranked 15. So, and right now Oklahoma's ranked 16, which leads me to my number 16, Tennessee. Tennessee's defense is going to be good. You got Nico Leva as quarterback. I think he's going to be a stud. They return their running game. Their running game has always been pretty good under Josh Heupel. So I think having a mobile quarterback. This gives me vibes of Hendon Hooker, Tennessee a little bit. Hendon Hooker, Tennessee was pretty good. Joe Milton last year was not good, and Tennessee was still winning games. So you get a quarterback that can play ball, and I think Tennessee is going to be dangerous. And then we get to number 5, and that for me will be Alabama.
Ooh.
Crazy. I know.
The nation number 5 in the SEC.
I have a number 5 in the SEC and number 5 in the nation. I have the number 5 in the SEC for a couple reasons. Their wide receivers, we don't know who they are. They one of their best receivers transferred to Texas. Jalen Milroe is a stud. He definitely developed. Bama's defense will be fine, but their O line's a question. Their O line is a question. You know what I mean? So I have Bama at 5 again. They could very well be number 1, and by the end of the year. But right now, just some question marks on the team. I got them at 5. Number 4, Ole Miss. Ole Miss team on paper is amazing. They kill the transfer portal better than anybody else. Do those pieces mesh together? That is the biggest question mark for them. Can they win big games? Last year they had the opportunity to beat Bama. Didn't. Went on the road. Some people were calling, I think they were ranked higher than us at the time, played Georgia and got pooped on.
Yep.
Jackson Dart's a great quarterback.
Yep.
They got, again, some great defensive additions. They got Juice Wells, receiver from South Carolina, who was their top receiver. He's now at Ole Miss. So Ole Miss is going to be great. Number 3, I got Texas. Got them Longhorns. They look good, man. Texas looks really, really good. They lost some pieces in the draft, but you got Coin Ewers coming back. You got Isaiah Bond. I don't know if he's going to be that big of a name. The biggest question mark for Texas, I believe, is the DBs. If the podcast I was listening to was correct at all, they said the DBs were a question mark. So I got Texas at 3.
Oh, Isaiah transferred from Bama?
Isaiah Bond transferred from Bama to Texas, yes. Again, I think the 5, 4, and 3 you could almost switch around. You can almost put Bama at 3. Number 2, maybe I'm a little biased. I got our Missouri Tigers.
Yeah.
I think our offense being as experienced as they are and bringing almost everybody back is huge. You lose the production of Cody Schrader, but then you fill it in with 2 players. O-line potentially gets better. Your biggest question mark is defense. But you guys, we have some guys returning with, hundreds and hundreds of defensive snaps. You have players who, for instance, Toriano Pride has played at Clemson, one of the biggest programs in the nation. You have Darius Smith transfer from Georgia. You got Chris McClellan transfer from Florida. You got Zion, I forget his name, transfer from Michigan State, who has been standing out of camp. I think Mizzou is primed. I think every position is deep. Maybe besides quarterback, again, the plan is to not have to use them. And then number 1, I don't think it's a surprise, is them Dogs. Is them dogs. Until proven otherwise, they are
Yep.
the number one team in the nation, number one team in the SEC.
Yep.
Again, the top five teams in the SEC, I think you could flip flop in any order, and I think you can make a case for it. You could put Mizzou at 5, you could put Mizzou at 4, 3. I think the only team in the top 5 that stays is Georgia. I think 2 through 5. If you told me you had Bama at 2, I wouldn't argue with you. So that is my top. That is my SEC rankings.
I'm gonna look at yours real quick.
Yeah, I had to type it out so I could remember what number I was on.
Like shit, that's all I remember. I don't think I'm gonna change. Well, I based off of just 24/7 Sports was the one I was looking at earlier. I think it's pretty universal that everybody's got the same bottom three. South Carolina, Auburn, Kentucky. Maybe I would switch South Carolina and Auburn. Maybe.
Really?
Who's their quarterback this year? South Carolina.
His name's Sellers. I don't know. I don't know his first name. He's.
Maybe
I just we just
talking
call him Goggles.
Okay. No, that's just me thinking about which game's a bigger trap game for Mizzou. No, I take that back. I'll keep them the same.
Try to think about it like this: if this team,
Right. Yeah.
you could say home or away. I think that kind of changes it though. As the way SC Mike does it, I think is the most logical way to do it.
Yeah.
It's if Team A meets Team B on a neutral field, who wins?
Yeah. I really don't have any disagreements with you probably until the top 7. 24/7 had Mizzou at 8, and I'm like, okay, all right, it's STP again. I mean, this is nothing new for us. But
we aren't one of those blue blood programs. You know what I mean?
we're not the golden child yet, but we will be. So
You there?
there you go, got me. Yeah, Georgia. I mean, until somebody knocks them down, besides the SEC championship game, they're pretty hard to knock down from number 1. I want to say we're number 2, but considering Texas made the CFP last year in a 4-team bracket, I think I'll put them at 2. Texas at 2.
Okay.
I want to say we're number 4. I think Ole Miss.
You think Ole Miss above us or Bama?
No, I'd say Ole Miss. I think
Fair.
we're going to find a way to squeak it out against Bama. I hope we do. But Ole Miss is. I mean, we are a very solid roster this year, but I felt like every time I got on Twitter, it was Ole Miss landed this player and Ole Miss landed this player.
That's fair.
It's. I mean, again, on paper, haven't seen anything on the field yet, but on paper is all we got at this point. So, yeah, I would say Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Mizzou at 4. And again, I'm obviously hoping that we're number 1 at the end of the season, but I would say right now, Bama at 5, brand new head coach, but still a somewhat now proven quarterback, and it's Bama. They had a lot of people leave, but it's still Bama. So
your differences are. Oh wait, did you finish? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just looking from 6 to 8. I would admit I don't know that much about LSU. I think it's fine. I was thinking about maybe switching Oklahoma and LSU, but yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
So you have Georgia at 1, Texas 2, Ole Miss 3, Mizzou 4, Bama 5.
Yeah.
And then 6 through 16 were the same.
I think so. I mean, there's ones that are more arguable. Oklahoma.
I think a lot of these teams are real close. I think Georgia's the clear cut number 1.
Yeah.
I think Vandy's the clear cut number 16.
Yes.
I think A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, Tennessee.
Yeah.
You could mix all 4 of those teams around, and I wouldn't argue with you. I think Bama, Ole Miss, Texas, and Mizzou. Again, you can move all 4 of those teams around, and I wouldn't argue with you. Florida, Kentucky, Auburn. Again, you can mix those around. I wouldn't argue with you. I think there's a lot of teams that are pretty close. I think there's literally one clear-cut team, that is Georgia. I know Bama beat them last year in the SEC championship. I still think Georgia was the best team in the nation last year. I think they're the best team in the nation right now.
If Georgia would have played Michigan, Michigan would not be national champs.
So. No, they wouldn't be. They
because they've cheated, but that's a whole nother story. So
yeah, that is a whole nother story. Okay, that is fair. I agree with your list. I think the season's around the corner, so here in a few weeks we'll get to see, and I think something that we should do again. I know we're not an SEC show, we're a Mizzou show, but I think it would be fun after each week. So after week 1 is when we'll start it. We'll give our updated SEC rankings.
Okay.
Just to add it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. I think
Um,
the reason I'm going to knock us down too is just like offense is proven, defense can be proven, but they haven't played yet. So go see how they play. I mean, there's a reason NCAA knocked us down. I mean, they did it a little extreme, I would say, but there's a reason
yeah,
we're ranked high on defense. So,
I would like to see why they did that, but
yeah.
no, I think your list is good too. I don't think um, you could go wrong there. So, anyways, brother, that is everything that I had for today. This episode, we are currently live, obviously, for the people that are watching. On Tuesday, this will be uploaded on Spotify on tomorrow, Friday,
Yeah.
just to keep it. But I think we will move our dates a little bit. I forgot what we discussed already, though. I think we're gonna do. Did we say we're gonna go live Tuesdays and upload Wednesdays, or go live Thursdays and upload? We're gonna do Tuesdays to Wednesdays.
Yeah, because Mizzou opens on a Thursday.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and there's once the NFL starts Thursday night football, I'm trying to soak in all football. So, once the season starts for Mizzou, we'll be live on Tuesdays like we are, and then the episode will go live on Wednesday. I might just post it tomorrow, just cause takes a couple seconds to do. But anyways, my friend, that is everything that we had. Thank you for everybody for watching episode 2 of Off the Dome, season 2. And I'm excited for football. And that handsome guy to the right of me is excited for football. And we will talk to you in a week. And I don't even have to say it. MIZ.
you.
Peace out, bro.
Yeah, but